Victor Purton here on behalf of the Australian Leadership Project. Recently I had the privilege of interviewing Jan Owen AM on Australian leadership. Jan is the CEO of the Foundation for Young Australians, and in the course of the interview I asked her about the qualities of contemporary Australian leadership.
So Jan, what is unique about Australian leadership and leaders?
I think there's a couple of things. I think firstly Australian leaders are kind of what I call WYSIWYG, what you see is what you get. And I think that's what makes them unique in the world. I think everyone, when they meet an Australian leader kind of anywhere in the world, kind of knows that what you see is what you get, and it's kind of the no BS kind of factor. So I think that's really powerful, because I think that leads to, at a kind of macro level, this idea of Australia being a kind of honest, open and relatively transparent country, and I think that's very powerful for us globally. I think there's another Australian leadership trait, which is kind of this sort of self-effacing, kind of self-deprecating humour, which also can kind of lead into leadership a little bit, and I think it has its strengths and weaknesses. I think it has a strength in that we, again, are kind of very real and try to be very grounded as people, but it also, the kind of, obviously the flip side of that is this tall poppy syndrome, where we kind of cut people down if they go too far or have too much aspiration or too much ambition. So I think that's kind of got a two-edged sword, that kind of self-deprecating humour. Do we really back ourselves in the way that we should is, I think, the challenge out of that. And then I think a third part of the Australian, and certainly I see it in this generation and the generations coming, that I think we've always had it, is this kind of egalitarian leadership. And so this idea that collaborative leadership and that people working together, that people have different roles. I absolutely see the next generation really looking for a collaborative leadership model, and you see it in organisations and companies where they go and work for, where they have no problem fronting up to the CEO, and in previous generations nobody would ever have thought to do that. So there is kind of a egalitarianism, which I think is very powerful, and again I think keeps us kind of honest and transparent. And certainly the next generation are looking for opportunities, not so much to lead, but to be in positions where they can try things and do things differently and get the opportunity to step up. And I think that's a very powerful thing that can happen in Australia because of our WYSIWYG, our kind of self-deprecating kind of real groundedness, but also our kind of flat, collaborative kind of way of working.
Well, it's a huge thank you to Jan Owen. If you'd like to watch the rest of the interview, which is interesting and evocative, please visit our website at australianleadership.com. And if you'd like to share your stories of Australian leadership and your views on the qualities of Australian leadership, please join us on the website or contact us through social media on Twitter, Facebook or LinkedIn, or contact me directly. Thank you.